Maybe we're getting a biz.
Yeah, we are. Wires. Going crazy. Wow. Oh, here comes the wave. You gotta cut it out.
I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Maybe once.
Maybe once. Here comes the wave. There's the wave. Okay. So now here. It's with other women.
Here comes the wave.
It's looking around to see if there's some kind of equipment.
It is.
around.
It's just. I think it's the Chinese.
Yeah, I think they're getting into our podcast.
Into our podcast. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. It's like a bug. It's like it's traveling by. It's weird.
That's an interruption.
There you go.
That is a perfect example of interruption because it has no sense of what we're doing. It just interrupts. That's called electronics planing.
Electron erupting.
Electron erupting, right. Buzz eruptor.
Buzz eruptor.
So I went and ordered a new pair of sunglasses.
Okay, good. Good.
They're friggin' expensive.
Because you got the, what are they called?
I got wraparound.
No, but they go dark and outside.
Yeah, I got the transition. But
transition.
If you get the transition, it's only like $100 difference. It's like no.
What? It's because you got wraparound? Oh, because you. Oh.
No, they're just
Why
expensive.
are they so? Oh, because you have a special weird.
No, they're just expensive.
So is it the place or the?
Yeah, so I go to AO.
Yeah.
AO, which I think means.
Why don't you just take that
awfully
prescription?
good optometrist. Right? No. Well, because I want to support my optometrist. Because he's the one that kind of goes and cuts open my eye.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
I want to keep on his good side of Dr.
Contributing
Chef's.
to. I'm sure he's doing okay.
I'm sure he is, but it's like I want to make sure that I like you, Alan.
Okay.
Because he does all the operations on my eye.
What, Alan? You're going to Unique? Oops, the knife slipped.
Yeah. So I said I'd do a shout out to Tanya Akhtar. She said she would listen to the webinar. So Shania Akhtar is the optician who took care of me, and listen to this, she gave me a 5% discount.
Wow.
5%.
Well, you're giving him a shout out at the same time you're saying how expensive they are.
I know.
I think you
know,
ought to just talk about what great service you get too.
They're very nice. No, she was very nice.
You get a lot for the money.
She gave me good advice. And I'm getting these new glasses so that when we go to walk on the glacier, I don't slip and fall into a crevasse.
Yeah, exactly.
A huge glacier crevasse.
You know, the long walk that we talked about going on, it takes you to waterfalls, and they're waterfalls that go down into the ice. That, to me, sounds scary.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of waterfalls because it's going to be like 70 degrees out there, 80 degrees.
Yeah, everything's melting.
Yeah. I mean, it was in Alaska. What was it? Juneau, Alaska or something. It was like 90 degrees a few weeks ago. Oh, here comes my beer.
Yeah.
Here's my beer.
Thank you, Jolene.
Thank you, Jolene. Jolene is our bartender.
She gave me a twist. I don't want a twist.
Oh, no. Are you going to return it?
I don't know. I have to try it.
Yeah, she should know better than that. No, it's going to taste lemony.
It's okay. I'm not going to return it.
Well, you're really sweet. Sweeter than me. Look, Jolene. she put a hamburger in my beer.
Yeah, that's what's free.
Oh, it's good. I like it. Oh, it's a meaty beer.
I would like some olives though.
It's a meaty, beady beer. We're here at
Five Napkins. Oh, I said it wrong. It's Five Napkin. Five, but
We're
that
here at
just
Five
doesn't
Napkin.
make sense to me. I'm sorry. Five is plural. Five Napkin.
Five
yes.
Napkin.
Five Napkin.
No, but it's a 5 napkin burger. So 5 napkin becomes the adjective.
Okay.
For what kind of burger? It's a 5 napkin burger.
All right, that works for me.
Maybe
but
that's
I
what
like
it is.
the restaurants regardless of.
We could certainly.
Man, you know what they have on TV there? They have these 2 women wrestling.
Wow.
Let's just.
Ooh. Oh no! Don't hit her.
They're really rough.
Oh.
They're wrestling and hitting.
But she has a nice
cage.
butt.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God.
Look at that.
I can't watch that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You know, men beating up on each other, that seems normal.
No, that's not good either. I don't really enjoy that.
Kind of
I just don't enjoy watching people beat each other up.
So, you know, what we're doing now is kind of an example of what we want to talk about.
What is that?
And anyone's been listening.
I know you've been.
Our conversation
you've been doing it on
just
purpose.
now.
It's not really interrupting. Talking over each other. It's what we do. It's how we talk.
I know, but when we started this, okay. So the topic today is
man-rupting.
Well, man-rupting, but I think there could be woman-rupting too. But I think it's just people-rupting.
Mostly though. That's the point. The whole point of these studies is that it's mostly men.
And I've read studies that it might be just style. It might be.
Yeah,
all right,
and
we
then
haven't
I read
said
another study who trumped that study and said that it wasn't just style.
Trump is a good word to use as someone who man-rupts. And I'm gonna give an example of man-ruptions.
And mansplaining.
Should I start with the examples of man-ruptions? This comes from a YouTube compilation.
Sure, go ahead.
And it's like man interruptions. You're calling them man-ruptions. So there's like about 5 of these man-ruptions in this next little clip, and it's Kanye not letting Taylor Swift talk. That's the first one.
Well, wasn't that that was a very famous incident? It was actually on stage at an award ceremony.
That's right.
And I think she had she won an award?
I don't know the history of it.
Yeah.
But he didn't let her talk at all.
Yeah.
Right. He said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you talk," and then he kept talking.
Right.
So that's man-rupting.
I never saw it, but I heard about it.
Then there's Clinton and Trump at the debates, and he was constantly interrupting her. Right, at the debates. Then there's 2 newscasters, with the male newscaster over talks the female newscaster, and she gets very kind of distraught by it.
Who are the newscasters?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. And then the 4th one is Kamala Harris being interrupted by Jeff Sessions. Now she is questioning Jeff Sessions.
Right.
And he interrupts her.
Yeah.
And then the chair interrupts her. And I think it's John McCain interrupts her.
And the most recent...
Wait a minute, let me go through this first before you...
All right, okay.
Right. And then the last one is a Google exec that's interrupting a woman expert and gets called out on it. So let's just listen to that.
Right,
this is
I read about that.
Series of interruptions.
Yeah.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
That's called business. I did not. Yeah, for 30 years.
Wrong. Actually, do you know?
Hang on.
Do you mind if I ask this question?
You can, but I just want to pick you up on that one point.
Are you aware of any communication?
A lot of people were at the convention. It's conceivable that somebody came up to me.
Sir, I have just a few.
Will you let me qualify?
And are you aware of
at this moment?
The basis for you refusing to answer the majority of questions that have been asked of you?
Should be allowed to answer the question.
Senators will allow the chair to control the hearing. Senator Harris, let him answer.
You couldn't reconstruct everything that was going on at the cocktail party in the room, right? But what's so striking about ADS CFT duality is that there's enough information. Oh, I'm sorry. I always get heckled.
So that last one, someone in the audience yelled out and said, "Why don't you let her finish what she's saying?"
I didn't really, you know what, to be honest with you, I couldn't follow that. Because it was a bunch of...
well, you don't really need to follow it. It's just men interrupting women.
I couldn't tell who was interrupting who. I couldn't tell.
All right, so maybe that's not a good example. Maybe I won't use that.
I don't know. I mean, you can try. I couldn't tell. There was one on top of another, and I couldn't differentiate.
It may be that you need to see it on the YouTube, because a lot of it has to do with the woman's kind of expression while she was being interrupted and not being able to say what she wanted to say. So
I'm sorry.
No, you have to be sorry.
To disregard your work you put together there, but
it works or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But when we started about 2.5 years ago, you were upset at me. And I mean, there were times when you would kind of give me the stare.
It wasn't all the time, but there was one incident. We had an incident.
And I was interrupting you, and you got upset with me.
But you don't remember what it was, do you?
No, you have to remind me.
It was a joke. I was telling a joke.
Oh, yeah.
And you interrupted me and told the punchline.
Yeah, and then we took it to our therapist because we do counseling.
There's that buzz again. Do you hear it? I think there's something interfering with our signal. Yeah, and it stopped. That's it.
Oh.
Weird.
Okay, so we see a counselor, a therapist, and
I think we've mentioned that before.
We mentioned it before.
Yeah.
And we're not going to mention any names, but she's wonderful, and you had told a joke on one of our podcasts. At least you started the joke, but then I man-rupted.
Yeah, and
finished the ending. So
yeah.
We were with our therapist, and you were complaining about it. And what happened? You started to tell the joke.
And she said the punchline.
She said the punchline,
I think it was pretty obvious, what the punchline was.
Right.
Yeah.
And she did the punchline, too. And all of a sudden, I was exonerated.
Yeah. No.
I went like,
no,
okay.
Not.
Pretty obvious joke.
Not.
There it is. I was right. You were wrong. But anyway, early on, you would say, I'm not letting you talk.
Well, there have been times when I have felt that you overwhelmed.
How could I not let you talk?
But you haven't, and I know we do this. These you're doing it right now, and you're doing it on purpose, and it's
but
so
you're
obvious.
talking. I'm not stopping you. Okay, go ahead and stop. But that's you that stopped. I didn't stop you.
I forgot what I was saying.
Oh well.
See, that's a problem too. When you're talking about something, you get interrupted, you forget what you're saying, and then it's like you feel like an idiot.
Have you ever been in class? I know this happens in class all the time. I'm on a roll, and I have a point I'm trying to make.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding?
I'm trying to make a point about a movie or something. It happens with big kids too, and it's like I'm getting to the point, and all of a sudden someone raises their hand.
Because they have to go to the bathroom.
And then they'll say, are you going to tell us about the homework?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like,
wait a minute. It's like the beginning of the class. I'll tell you the homework.
And you're in the middle of
I'm trying to make a point here.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't say it that way. I just say, I'm thinking, you dumb shit. Why don't you listen to what I'm talking about? I'm making this great point about a Kurosawa film. You should be listening, not. No.
I tell my students that they shouldn't even raise their hand when someone's talking, let alone, call out, because it is rude. It's rude to. I mean, you have to be kind of careful about when you raise your hand when the speaker's talking. You have to kind of wait for a pause.
Yeah. So I mean, part of this, because we did some research on this.
Yes, we have.
We both did. I gave you some stuff that I was reading. I see you found some other stuff. And
this is the Supreme Court study that we talked about.
Okay, well, why don't you talk about that? Because there's a lot of studies out there about this idea of man interrupting woman, mansplaining, which is another term which I'd like to define. But why don't you talk about this study about the Supreme Court?
So Tonya Jacoby and Dylan Schwers, I'm probably mispronouncing it, studied the Supreme Court. They took recordings of quite a few, cases, and counted the number of times that one Supreme Court justice interrupted another Supreme Court justice. And their findings were that that the female justices were interrupted at a much higher percentage than a male justice would interrupt another jail justice. And that also, though, and this is what I didn't know until I actually read this thing, because that's all the other news coverage picked up about that, that the male justices interrupt the female justices. Also, the lawyers who are, I don't know what they're called, advocates, that are, presenting a case before the court, they interrupt the female justices.
That's right.
More often than they interrupt the male justices.
And it's against the rules to do that.
And it's against the rules to do that, yes. Right. It's explicitly against the rules. And they, but also conservative justices interrupt the liberal justices more often, too.
So it's a conservative male thing.
It's a conservative male thing, but it's also, but the female trumps. So in other words, Sandra Day O'Connor, who was somewhat conservative, was also interrupted at a higher rate.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, that's one study.
And then the other aspect of it is that the female jurists who are Sotomayor, Kagan, and Ginsburg are learning. They learn how to talk like a man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which may not be a bad thing. Probably the better thing is to learn how all of us to talk in our own styles, because I was looking at other studies that said there is communication style. Oh, there's another point you wanted to make?
Yes. Can I?
You raised your hand while I was talking.
I just raised a finger just to let you know.
Because the other thing you do is you put your hand on my leg.
I'm not touching you.
Which says, shut up, Alan.
And I'm not touching you for the next month, okay?
All right. What?
Interruptions have increased as more women join the court.
Wait a second.
Did you hear what I said?
Okay, go on. Do it
Interruptions have increased as more women have joined the court, too.
Wow.
So
the number of interruptions.
The number of interruptions have gone up considerably. As more women, so there's 3 now. I guess there was 1 and whatever. But every time another woman is added, the interruptions of those women have increased, of women in general, whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So this has been studied. This sense that we feel it, that men interrupt women more. Women have to change their communication style so that they push their way in and get there. And I've noticed you've changed your communication style just in doing this Bar Pro radio podcast.
Well, you told me I had to. You said you better change or get off the pot.
Yeah, because, and I wanted to make this point, another study, and this was done by a graduate student. Am I going to find it? Yeah, I'm not going to find it. Hilton. Her name is Hilton, and she's at Stanford. And she was studying interruption styles. And she says some people hate to have pauses. They hate when there's a conversation, there's a pause in the conversation. Like I hate when there's a pause in the podcast. I want it to keep going. Other people, they like the pause because they like to maybe think and take a moment to kind of take in what's going on. And those people who like the pause in the conversation, they see interruptions as rude. While people who like things to keep going don't see interruptions as rude. They see it as supportive, as keeping the conversation going. So,
well, it depends on the kind of interruption.
Actually, it depends. Excuse me for interrupting you, but actually, it depends.
I don't think you did.
on the country you're from, on the style of communication that you have. So, she did a test. I'm going to try this, see if it works.
All right.
So I'm going to play 3 different versions of man and a woman talking. And this comes from Hilton's, I think her first name was Catherine. I'm not finding her name, but the last name is Hilton. A man and a woman talking, and it's almost exactly the same each time. At the end of each little segment, there's an interruption. So which ones do you find offensive? And which ones do you find, okay? All right? So here's the first one. This is interruption A.
Well, we can still make it on time if we leave now.
Maybe, but I don't think it'd be right to go without them.
It's probably better if we just wait for them.
Okay, so that's the first interruption. You want to hear it again?
No, I'm good.
So the most people feel that last person is not interrupting in that particular scenario. That there's no interruption going on. What did you feel?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, no interruption.
Oh, here comes the wave. You gotta cut it out.
I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Maybe once.
Maybe once. Here comes the wave. There's the wave. Okay. So now here is the C, B, there's another way of interrupting, and it'll be a little bit different. So what do you think about this one?
Well, we can still make it on time if we leave now.
Maybe, but I don't think it'd be right to go
Anyway,
without
have you
them.
heard from anyone else?
Now, what about that one?
That was her interrupting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your feeling about it?
I think that was I kind of felt that she didn't listen to him. He was saying something. He was gonna.
Right, and all the people who listened to that one, they felt that the last person had interrupted.
Right.
Now, if you listen to it closely, what she does is she doesn't further the conversation. Her tone changes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
It changes what he's saying into something else.
Right.
She's saying anyway, and it changes something else.
Yeah, if you interrupt to support what the person is saying, to add to what they're saying, it's okay. But if you interrupt to change it, or it makes it seem like you're not listening to that person.
That's kind of rude, right? Okay.
It is rude.
All right, here's C.
I think.
All right, here's C. I do too. Here is, because it's like you're not listening. You're not paying attention to what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And so that's a rude interruption.
Right.
All right, what about this one? Here's the third one.
Well, we can still make it on time if we leave now.
Maybe, but I don't think it'd be right to go without them.
Yeah, it's probably better if we just wait for them.
They were talking over each other.
All right, let's do it again. One more time.
Yeah.
Listen carefully.
Well, we can still make it on time if we leave now.
Maybe, but I don't think it'd be right to go without them.
Yeah, it's probably better if we just wait for them.
No, see, they were saying the same thing that time. So that that to me wasn't that big a deal.
Okay.
He kind of was finishing her sentence.
Yeah, but that particular one in the study, those people that enjoyed keeping the conversation going said it was fine.
Okay.
Those people who feel that, there needs to be a pause between, that are kind of slower conversationalists,
yes,
they found it rude.
Yes.
So it depended on your feeling.
Okay, but
where you're coming from.
You were talking about that in terms of countries, and I can't find which article it was, but it's one of the articles that you gave me, and it said that at the end of the day, when they actually looked at how much of a gap there was, they were saying that Japanese people, have a pause. Their response and there's a pause.
That was the feeling that Japanese.
But it
kind
wasn't
of were
true.
No.
Which
Japanese
I think is kind of funny. In
interrupt
fact,
faster than Americans.
Right. I mean, you wouldn't think that.
Right. And Italians supposedly interrupt really, really fast. But yeah, there's a study by. I'm sorry, I don't know what the study is, but it's really interesting. Each country has its own interruption style,
right,
and interruption speed.
But yet, there's not, as it turns out, there's a really very little difference. They were saying that it's, just a very small, like, parts of a second difference.
Right. And how do we know? How do we play this? We're kind of playing this game here, in which we're listening and we get a sense of when we're going to interrupt. Like right now, I'm going to keep talking until you interrupt me. And
I'm thinking about the style of the way my brother talks.
Now, how did you know to interrupt right then?
You took a breath.
There was something, and I really didn't pause at all, but you felt there was a moment there where you could kind of throw.
I was looking for a wedge, but that's true.
That's right. You're looking for the wedge.
Yeah, and that's why they say women get interrupted longer, because they have longer sentences, and then they take deeper breaths. Like there's some advice for women. Okay, so for women to stop being interrupted, use shorter sentences so you don't take as big of a breath. Speak with conviction. Mm-hmm. Say no instead of believe. Instead of say I know something instead of I believe something.
I know
or,
this.
Or will instead of might. And just it says
will. It's like more definitive.
It said look them in the eye, lean in, and take yourself seriously if you want to be heard. Because I guess women are more laid back. I don't know.
Well, other studies say that when women converse with other women,
here comes the wave.
It's more. I'm looking around to see if there's some kind of equivalent.
It is. It's just. I think it's the Chinese.
Yeah, I think they're getting into our
podcast.
But
we just spoke about Asian people.
Women tend to talk to other women in a very supportive way, in order to keep the conversation going.
Right. Yeah.
Men talk in a kind of competitive way.
Yes.
Got to get my idea.
So I think that's been ingrained in them maybe since
And so, I mean...
Boys interrupt in my class. Boys interrupt, and girls sit there and they're quiet.
Yeah. And we need to find a way that both work well.
Right.
Right. I want to... there's one thing that we didn't talk about, and that's mansplaining. You know what mansplaining is?
Only because I
don't think I do that.
I previewed what you were playing earlier, so I
So mansplaining is really a negative term for men who not only they interrupt, but they disallow the woman's intelligence. They ignore the woman has something to say because what they know is right.
Right.
So I got the definition of mansplaining. So here's 2 definitions.
Here's the definition of mansplain. Informal. Of a man explain something to someone, typically a woman, in a manner regarded as condescending or patronizing.
Or this one.
According to Wikipedia, mansplaining is a pejorative term meaning to comment on or explain something to a woman in a condescending, overconfident, and often inaccurate or oversimplified manner.
And thank you, Siri. So that's...
I think that's why you don't like one of our friends who has... And we're not going to name that person.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
He's a sweet guy.
Absolutely.
But he mansplains. But he mansplains to men.
Yeah.
He mansplains to everybody.
He splains.
He's just a splainer.
He's a splainer.
Right, he's a splainer. So I don't think you got angry at me for mansplaining, because I don't think I do that.
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, you do.
Maybe I did. You used to call me the professor, but you haven't lately.
Yeah, you get professorial, and then sometimes you get obtuse.
Have I been doing it lately?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yes. In our last podcast, there was a moment where you became, I don't understand what you're saying. But you did it in a way that was kind of like...
I didn't mansplain. I just didn't understand what you were talking about. All right, maybe we have to take this to our next counseling session. It wasn't mansplaining. It was something else. It was something else.
It was something else.
Yes, and if anyone wants to know, that was Bar Pro Radio number 49.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're bad with numbers, as anybody who has listened to us knows.
It was just you and I talking about something, and I got a little miffed, and I was going to take it out. But
you didn't.
But I didn't because...
It was okay.
No one could hear it.
It was okay. Interrupting, I don't feel that you interrupt me that much, but you will start talking, and I can't compete when you start... really, and it's not just you, it's your friends too, it's your male friends too. And you guys all get into what you want to say, and it's hard for the women folk to join the conversation.
Okay.
And when you're sitting there at the Passover table with your brother and your sister, it's just, I feel like I can't really contribute.
Your daughter has no problem with that.
I know.
Jessica has no problem with that.
Yes, it's true. So I'm a woman of a different age. I guess, different time.
I want to end, if I may.
Well, I don't know. I think you should comment on what I said. Do you feel that that's true?
I don't.
You don't see that I can't join the conversation?
All right. In the most respectful way, I think you can join the conversation. You just have to push your way in.
Yeah, I know. It's just that's so. But you see, that's the thing.
Because women know how. There are other women who know how to do it. It's not a woman thing. I think it's a you thing.
Oh, here it comes. It's like a bug.
We should count how many times it does it. It's about the same number of times.
It's weird.
Yeah, we're always sitting in the same part of the bar.
But Alan, the thing is that why do
That's an interruption.
There you go.
That is a perfect example of interruption because it has no sense of what we're doing. It just interrupts. That's called electronic explaining.
Electron erupting.
Electron erupting, right. Buzz eruptor.
But what I don't think is fair is that I have to change. You don't have to. In other words, I just have to be like a man. Your daughter can do it. She's like a man. Your niece can do it. She's like, they can do it. Why can't you? Why do I have to change?
Men can be more sensitive to that. I think they can be more sensitive. I think it's a both coming to the center.
I mean, look at me sometimes and say, what do you have to say about this, or what do you feel?
What I think I'm more than willing to do. I'm not do that because then it becomes a little woman thing. I think if I see that you want to say something, I then give you room to say it.
So how should I let you know that I would like to say something?
I think I need to be aware of you trying to butt in.
But you don't want me to touch you.
No,
you don't like that.
It's not just me. It's my brother and it's the other men around the table.
I know, but you're my partner.
It's the aggressive women too.
Okay, but you're my partner.
And if you start, I'm going to try to be aware that you're trying to say something.
All right, we'll try it. We'll try it next.
There's another way.
There's high holidays.
There's another approach to this.
Okay.
And I'm going to play a little piece from Barcroll Radio number, I think it was 21. And this was Women at Work Barcroll Radio.
Right.
And we had 3 women that had joined us. Julie, our daughter, Jessica, our niece, and Erin, who was a young woman who worked as at a high level in the medical field. She was an administrator in the medical field. She's a
pharmacist.
Yeah,
she's a pharmacist in a hospital.
Okay. And I was the only male, and we're talking about women at work.
Yeah.
And at some point, you all came up with the solution for the intrusive male. And I'm going to play that now.
For the man-rupter. I wanted to share with the ladies that we had a discussion last night about how I want my voice to be heard more on this program because he dominates. He's got a very intelligent and he has great ideas.
Side, I have a male
I have to
ego.
Keep pushing at him to get
metrosexual.
My voice in. Yeah.
So we had a
see that? You see how he did that? You see how he started talking when I was talking?
Interruptions are
right?
a thing.
Yeah.
There's a hard time to go when you're over talking somebody or when you're just having a regular conversation.
I know.
But
you're giving him a hard time.
This is an equal partnership. You should just take the mic.
I know, and that's what Alan tells me too. But girls, you say that, but you have all been in a space with men talking.
You see this right here?
Trying
the
to
off
get
button right here. You could just shut it off.
There you go.
And then, or you could just this right here. This is how you unplug the bad boy.
Yeah, I know that.
You just
I know that.
Shut him down.
Okay, just a second. All right, so I just turned him off. So, but you've all been in the room where you can't get a word in. I mean, you've been at tables in your family where the guys are all talking and you're trying to join the conversation and you can't get in. She put your mic back on.
That's all right. I'm just going to get another drink.
Oh, can I have one?
Okay, so there's a solution. We're back here at...
Turn your mic off.
Yeah, just turn my mic off.
All right.
And so maybe...
You say so.
Maybe at this point...
He's like, did you hear his panic in his voice just then?
He's going to turn my mic off so I can't say anymore. So this is Barcroll Radio coming to you for 5
They
napkins.
tell women that we should talk faster. That's another thing that we should do. We should talk faster.
Oh, okay.
But do you want to hear what men should do?
What? Shut up.
Think twice. Think twice.
Before they even say anything.
And then also, like you talked about.
If I think twice about anything I say, I'm not going to say anything.
No,
everything
think
I
twice
say is
about
stupid.
interrupting.
Oh.
Think twice about interrupting. Like that guy. Oh, here it comes. Here comes a wave.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's going to build. It's getting a little weaker. It's a little. Oh, I hear it.
You have better hearing than me. Maybe that's why you interrupt, because I can't hear anything.
You don't hear that?
I do a little bit.
That's the electronerupt. Okay, so the executive, the Google executive who interrupted. Okay.
Yeah.
So they say to you, think about how you're going to look to others if you're, interrupting a woman.
Yeah, he didn't look
other
too
people
good.
at the meeting. Right, exactly.
Yeah. He did not come off well.
So if, for example, you're interrupting for clarity, return the floor to the woman. So it's okay to interrupt for clarity. That's okay. But you have to return the floor to the woman. And if you think you'll forget, just jot it down. Just jot your idea down.
All good advice.
Yeah.
Coming to you from Barcroll Radio.
At 5 napkins.
At 5 napkins. That was a transition. That wasn't an interruption.
I thought you were ending the show.
I was.
You are? Okay.
So
I know.
Transitions are not the same as interruptions.
I know you didn't interrupt me. I don't really think you interrupt me. I think we just kind of talk over each other. We both do
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I do a little
But you
sound
won't let me
effects.
get into a conversation sometimes. I don't. I can't touch your arm, but can I kick your leg? Can I make this sound?
Ow. That's it. Make that sound. I'll go, oh, Becky has something to say. Wait, Becky has something to say. Everyone, quiet down and listen. We're at 5 Napkin, and we just talked about interrupting. I think there's more to say about interrupting. I think we should get some experts in.
I do too. I was thinking that today.
Talk about interrupting.
This should be one of our, other show. The other show. The other. Well, this is the other, but the other show. Yeah.
Once again, I don't think we started the show by saying this is Bar Crawl Radio. If you want to contact us, you can contact us at barcrawlradio@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Love to.
Our next show, we're going to be talking
Interrupt us.
To a theater troupe that went to Russia to perform a Russian play. We want to talk about their experiences of being in Russia during the Trump era. And so that'll be the next Bar Crawl Radio.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And then we get the Joan of Arc one coming up.
We have the Joan of Arc. We've got some nice experts coming in. Talk about the Joan of Arc monument on West 93rd Street.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
I'm enjoying talking about these statues. I take more time now to look at statues, and I found one in the park that we walk by all the time. That is another monument to the Civil War veterans.
There's a lot of Civil War. Yeah, but the Soldiers and Sailors Monument is a Civil War monument.
I know it is, and that's why I was mentioning that I found another one in Central Park.
Right.
To a certain regiment, a New York regiment.
So, what are we having for dinner?
I want to have the grain salad, and I'm not sharing.
Oh, I have to get my own thing?
Yep.
I'm on I can't make decisions, you know that.
All right, I'll help you.
All right, goodbye. I got to look at the menu. It's going to take me a while.
All right.
Bye-bye, everybody.